this video, we're going to be reviewing the brand new AEW Unrivaled, or I guess you could say Supreme, ringside exclusive Blood and Guts Jon Moxley figure. Now, I want to say this was either revealed the first day of Comic-Con, I think it was preview night, or it may have been the, WrestleMania. I can't remember if it was the other. I just remember it being on one of those trips. I was either in Vegas or San Diego. I can't remember, man. It just is what it is. All the days blur together nowadays. But today we're taking a look at Jon Moxley. They just kind of randomly dropped this on us. I don't remember them ever really hyping this guy up. They just posted promo images on that day that we were discussing, and it was a part of kind of the reveals of that specific day. And today we're taking a look at Jon Moxley here with the Blood and Guts, and I'm excited for it, man. I think there's some really good things here. Let's take you through the packaging. Here's a shot of the front viewing window here, and you can see that we do have a cat trying to interrupt the review. But you can see there, you got the bloody face, got some blood spread out throughout, championship, got a t-shirt, we got the Blood and Guts Jon Moxley down there on the side, little shot of Jon Moxley, some extra blood spatter, and on the back you get a shot of Mox. And then you do have Blood and Guts Jon Moxley AEW right there. But I'm excited for this figure. I think that including a brand new Jon Moxley right here, I think it suffices. I feel like every time I turn the television on, this man is bleeding. So I think that is a good sign here. Well, maybe not a good sign, but I think it's fairly accurate is what I'm saying. But this is ringside exclusive, so if you guys are interested in this figure, you want to grab it, you already like what you see, you can go over to ringsidecollectibles.com, use code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%. But what we're going to do is unbox Jon Moxley today and find out what the hell this figure is all about. So that being said, let's crack Jon Moxley out of his cage and see what this figure is all about. So here we have the Jon Moxley Blood and Guts ringside exclusive figure out of the packaging, and I like a few things about this figure, man. I'm enjoying it in certain ways. I think you do get some value right here, and I was actually shocked by the amount of goods that you get with this guy. I think it's pretty impressive. We're going to dive into it, of course, get into the details of it. So let's take a look at all of the accessories you get with this Jon Moxley Blood and Guts figure, and then we'll take a closer look at Mox himself. But man, I don't know, man. You may have some value here. We're going to get into it. Let's get into the accessories, and then we'll dive into Mox. All right, man, so we're getting into the accessories you get with this Blood and Guts Mox figure, and you get a pretty sufficient amount of accessories here. I'm pretty impressed with the amount of things that they're giving you. And I guess we can start things off with these head sculpts, and I like these, and they seem to be pretty much a repaint of the original AEW Supreme Jon Moxley figure. But you are noticing that they have added the blood there because that's what the Blood and Guts line is all about, right? This is what they do. Strong likeness here. You have that blood coming down the front right there. I'm pretty impressed with this head sculpt. I think this may be the one with the strongest likeness in my opinion, all things considered. I think it looks just like Mox. And then we have the donning the crimson mask face, man. I mean, he's pissed off. He's got the gritty teeth. You got the blood all over his face. I think this looks really good as well. I'm pretty impressed with this one as well. And again, this is just a repaint or adding a coat of red stuff to the face of the previously done head sculpts. One head sculpt I would like to see from them is a tongue-out head sculpt, similar to the Elite 36 Dean Ambrose or something like that, but with blood on it would be sweet. And then another one I really like is this screaming expression. Now, one thing I noticed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but you see like this brown smush on his face? You see it looks like dirt water or doo-doo water or something, man. You see how he's got like the brown marks here, or is that supposed to be cuts? I don't know. But can you see what I'm talking about? Like under the cheek right here, you're getting that, and then it's kind of just, I don't know, it just looks like he's dirty or something mixed in with the blood, or maybe it's just a misprint. I don't know, but it's not that noticeable, but it is there. I don't know, maybe I could acetone it off, but somebody can let me know if that is a misprint or not. It also seems like he's got blood in his actual eyeball, but I could be mistaken there as well. Now, we're also getting this faux leather jacket here, which I do believe we also got with the Supreme Mox, and this looks really good, man. I like this a ton. Now, it could possibly stain. I'm definitely, we know the historic nature of these figures. We know that they do stain in the past, but on the back you do get the orange Mox painted on there, which looks really good as well. Really clean graphic. Very, very nice leather jacket right here, and I do believe you could take that off if you wanted to, make a plain leather jacket, but I do like that. And then it does Velcro in the front, so you can slide this onto the figure. And yeah, it is a possible thing that it could stain, so you want to be careful with that. But I do like this jacket. I love cloth goods, and AEW cloth goods are high quality. We just got to get rid of that staining issue, but this is a nice jacket. Some more cloth goods that you get is the Death Rider Mox shirt, which is a pretty sweet design. You get the barbed wire Death Rider, kind of that painted old look there, kind of a gothic-y look, and then you do get the Mox with the skull in the middle, which I think is sweet. And then on the back, it doesn't feature anything, and it is a Velcro shirt, so you can do that. And I'm probably, this is something I've wanted to do in the past. I need to make a video on how to make your AEW figure clothes not stain. I do need to do that video. I get that request a lot. I do need to make a, set aside some time to make a video on how you can do that start to finish. But we do have a Death Rider shirt, but we're going to have to run this through that method in order to, ensure that we don't get a stain. And then we also get a championship we have seen multiple times, but AEW and Jazwares does a great job on this championship. We have the International Championship there, looking very clean. I love the colors here. I just think that this was a beautiful championship. I like the shape. I like the plates. It's just a really high-quality championship, and then you do have the gold buttons over there, which I like. Very nice championship, and, these championships over the years, they have been hit or miss, but I can get it to clasp, and I think that is a W right there. I like that a lot, and it looks really clean, so I'm all for getting another one of these into the collection. And then our last accessory that is not interchangeable hands is going to be the dog tag necklace, or the necklace here, which is pretty nice. We got this on his last Supreme, and now we're getting it here in this Supreme, and this is always I just dig these little small accessories. I think that they really add to the figures, and they go a long way in providing realism and great things for these figures. And last but not least, we do have our Blood and Guts interchangeable hands with blood on them, so we do get a pair of mic holding hands. He has his wedding band tattoo. He's got his other tattoos on the hands, and you can see they're all made out, so if you're worried about that, they are there. You also get a pair of fists with a similar blood pattern. I don't think it's exactly the same, so that's cool. It kind of changes it up a little bit, but you are getting all the same deco on all the hands there for the fisted hands. You do get the sculpted hands that we have seen for quite a few years now. It's kind of those Kenny Omega offhand shooter hands that we have seen, for Kenny Omega. I got a little schmutz there on the pinky, I do believe. But again, you're getting all the tattoos and stuff, so that is good. And these are pretty consistent with what we see with the other hands. And last but not least, you do get a right pointer finger hand, which looks pretty good. And then you get the left web shooting style hand, or the I love you hand, or, you could use that for whatever you will. But these are nicely sculpted as well, so that is all your interchangeable hands. Quite a bit of accessories on this guy. Alright, man, so we're getting into the figure itself, and this is probably, I don't want to say my favorite head sculpt, but I think it's the most likeness. It's, when we review the figure up close, I like to put on the firm expression, or the expression that's, the most neutral, I guess you could say. But, he's covered in blood, so I guess he's not that neutral. But getting into it, I do like this head sculpt like we talked about. I think it sits well on the neck, and I do like this proportion and body for Jon Moxley. I also like the chest hair. I think that adds an element to it. One thing I've always wanted in my collection, and I'm glad that they gave us a Supreme, because I've always wanted a Supreme Mox, but just having a really articulated Moxley in the collection and then getting a bloody variant of this is really cool, so I do like that. But this is the same torso we saw in the Supreme, and I really do wish they cut into that butterfly joint a little bit more, because I feel like almost, you're not getting that much range out of this. You do get some back range, though, which is nice. We'll get into the articulation, but they should have cut into that a little more. But you got the blood coming down the chest there. You can see it's cut off by that, which isn't the biggest deal, because if he's leaning back, it kind of gives you a gap, which isn't the biggest deal, but you can see the blood on the back of the figure as well, leaking down here. And it's not the most realistic look. You can see the tattoos there, but the blood isn't the most realistic, but it looks pretty good for the most part. I don't hate it or anything. I think that it looks pretty good. And then you go down to the leg, you get the Death Rider logo on the upper thigh here, and then you have Blackpool Combat Club with Mox down the side there, which looks pretty good. It is just black pants. This is the exact same molds we saw on the Supreme figure and stuff, so there's that. And then on the back, it is black. Now, another thing I like with this figure is they didn't put blood over the black cloth, which I think is accurate. I don't think that if you spill blood on black pants, it would be noticeable, but you wouldn't see it it wouldn't be fully saturated red, right? And I think they did a good job here just leaving it blank. And then you do have the Supreme boots down here with the toe articulation, but all the wrinkles look good. We've seen these legs before, but that's just something that I think adds to the realism of it. I think they did a good job here on this Mox. But now we're going to get into the articulation here, and one thing AEW and Jazwares does great is give us a ball hinge, so you can look up pretty far without popping off, and then he can look down pretty good as well. Hold up just a second. And then he can look all the way down, which is a great thing as well. You get no real head pivoting there, but he can look side to side. Arms go above 90 here. You get full rotation. You get bicep swivel, and you get a butterfly joint here. But what I was saying is, with this butterfly joint, you want to be able to come all the way across and touch this opposite shoulder, and they don't indent this enough for me. I think they could have went a little bit more. I know the chest hair would kind of get cut off a little bit, but I think that coming across a little more would have been ideal. I don't think it's the worst butterfly joint ever, but I think it definitely leaves a lot to be desired. I think they could have done a better job on that, but it does come back further, which is nice. You get a better reflex back than you do forward, which having that back flex is good, but I would have preferred coming to the front as well. I think as far as this cuts in, this should also cut in, and I guess it does, but this should have been brought forward a little more. But ab crunch is okay. It's not the greatest, but it is pretty good. It's better than an Elite, I'll tell you that. You get that upper diaphragm, and then you can push that forward, and that's pretty good right there. And then, you know, you get a little bit of diaphragm pivoting here. It is pretty tight and will pop off on you. You don't get waist swivel because it kind of sits down in there, allows for a better ab crunch, but then you can kick forward here, goes out to the side, you get upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless knee, which is not super stiff. I think it's not loose, it's not stiff, it feels pretty uniform and nice. Boot cut, they go up and down, you get ankle pivot, and you get toe articulation. So this guy's pretty damn articulated, man. You get a lot of movement here. I think this feels good in hand. The figure feels together. I don't feel like it's going to fall apart. I think that you get a lot of really good things featured here as far as articulation. I think it moves well, it poses well, and I've had fun with it. I think that this is certainly not a bad figure whatsoever, but let's get into some Jon Moxley figure comparisons. So for our first comparison, we do have the AEW Walmart exclusive Supreme Mox, and you can see black wrist tape and then a change of gear, just change of graphics, and then he is bloody, but this is the same head sculpt as this one. I'm pretty sure it just has blood, but this one looks like it has more likeness, and I think it's the hair color, the beard color. The lips are also painted, so it gives you a better look. It just looks a lot more put together, if you will. It looks a lot more accurate. I like the Blood and Guts likeness more than the Supreme or the regular edition, but there is a look at both Supreme Moxes up next to each other. So here's a look at all of our different Moxes, and this is not every Mox. You're missing some chases, you're missing the first one, you're missing the Shop AEW, you're missing the most recent one in the Unmatched line, the Unmatched Series 12. There's a few here and there that we are missing, but for the most part, this is what you get. And you can see we do have the Blood and Guts over here. This is the first Blood and Guts. I think the Supreme's much better. The skin tone's better. This one has a more gray look. This one has the pin showing. I do like the gray, not gonna lie, but I think that this figure overall is better. It's just a better figure. It's steady improvement. It's steady learning. It looks good, but I think this is the Unrivaled 8. You have the Unmatched 9, the Supreme, the Blood and Guts Supreme, the Unrivaled 12, the Blood and Guts 2-pack that came with Kenny Omega, I think it was, and then we do have the Unrivaled 5 over there. I think that is all of the different Moxes that are featured right here, but yeah, man, not bad. Not too bad, but I think this, I mean, the Supreme is definitely the best Mox they've made, and I do like other Moxes they've made, don't get me wrong. I wish that this figure or this figure had this skin tone. This is my favorite skin tone for Mox, but all things considered, these two are the, you know, the cream of the crop in my opinion. So here's every male Blood and Guts figure to my knowledge. I could be missing one off the top of the dome, but from left to right, you have the Cody Rhodes Blood and Guts, CM Punk, MJF, Kenny Omega, Wheeler Yuta, Darby Allin, Jon Moxley, Dustin Rhodes, Eddie Kingston, which technically isn't a Blood and Guts, it's just a bloody figure. And then we have the Brody King. So Brody King and Darby went together, Mox and Kenny went together, CM Punk and MJF went together, Wheeler Yuta was by himself, Dustin and Cody went together, and then the Jon Moxley is to himself. And for some reason, I feel like I'm missing one besides the females. I know Britt Baker, I know Thunder Rosa, but I want to say there was one more. I could be just stupid. But that pretty much wraps it up for your Moxley Blood and Guts Supreme figure comparison. But I think that all but wraps up this Blood and Guts Jon Moxley action figure review. At the end of the day, you're kind of getting a repaint of the Supreme Moxley, which is hitting clears at a lot of Walmarts right now. And this figure is pretty damn good, man. I've been really impressed with it. It feels a lot more, I hate to say uniform, but that's kind of just the word that comes to my brain. It feels tighter, it feels more together than the Walmart version, and it's probably the exact same figure, just repainted, but I think you get some really good accessories. You get the leather jacket, you get the championship, you get the t-shirt, you get the 3 bloody head sculpts, you get a lot of interchangeable hands, you're getting the necklace again. I've just been really impressed as I have been posing this figure around, reviewing it here today. It's felt good in hand, it is posed well. I just think overall it has been a fun figure, and I had a lot of fun shooting it as well. It's a good one, man. It is a good one. And I think if you're on the fence, you know, if you enjoy the Blood and Guts collection, I know we got to see some comparisons, you have to add this one, man. You got to add this one in there. I think this fits in perfectly. And I know it's our second Mox that is Blood and Guts, but this one is better than that one. I mean, it is a Supreme compared to an Unrivaled. I think that the likeness on the head sculpts is solid. It's a good figure. It's a good figure overall. I think that in all things considered, when you consider everything that you get here this year from AEW, this could be considered one of the better figures of the entire 2025 year. So that'll definitely be something that we have to monitor as we go throughout the year. But again, man, if you like this figure, you like what you see, you want to add it to your collection, go over to Ringside Collectibles, use promo code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%. But I have been enjoying myself today. This is one of those action figures that I've went through the review, and I have enjoyed myself, and I think that is the real goal when I review these figures, and that's kind of the telltale sign if a figure is good or not based on those different things. But anyways, man, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for me, man. I hope you guys did enjoy. I'd love to know all of your thoughts on these things down in the comment section below. Are you on? Are you off? Let me know all of the things that you believe about this figure down in the comment section, but I'm getting the hell out, man. A huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. I appreciate all you fellas. Thank you guys so very much for all of you. You are such a blessing, and I appreciate everyone that watched this video. If you will, leave a like. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.